eating session here.
You know what? Let's let her get this stuff out of her teeth a little bit.
Yeah, I'm on mic.
Lula. I thought you said Lula, and I was thinking of Brazil's president, Lula.
No, a lot of people think it's Lula.
Yeah.
I gotta really enunciate.
And do people ask you if you're Brazilian?
No.
Huh.
They do ask if I'm anything else other than Mexican, but I'm just Mexican.
What do you mean just Mexican? I'm also just Mexican.
Yeah, because they just, I don't know. I don't look like the proper Mexican, I guess.
Yeah, they also tell me different stuff. You?
I'm black.
You can start recording. We'll just like naturally go in. It's fine. You're black.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Creole.
We'll start like this. You're black.
Yeah.
I'm Mexican. And I just and you are just Mexican also.
Yes.
I interrupted the poke eating, and you were gracious enough to allow me to do so. In order to ask a simple question, what your favorite book is, or what book has had a big impact on you, whichever one of those. Which one?
Probably Beloved by Toni Morrison. Yeah, so it's basically, it's a lot of different, it's kind of almost like an anthology, so it's told from like different perspectives, but each person has some involvement with like the slave trade. Either they were a slave themselves, or like their mother was a slave, or their lover was a slave. So I feel like, yeah, as a black person, obviously, like, I have a deep connection with the slave trade. Also, my family is Creole, so like we were directly influenced by like enslavement in America. So it's more of like a beautiful and heartbreaking story of like what enslavement does to people across generations. Yeah.
And are there some stories from that book that you remember that I think every book leaves you a little something especially.
Yeah, actually it's funny because Toni Morrison is one of my favorite authors, and the book itself is really sad and very like hard to get through.
Because of the sadness.
Well,
like the
it's
difficult
because
stories.
Because it's just like how like entrenched each person's story is in kind of like reality. So it's very easy to see like the characters as real people who lived a life. Yeah, so I think that more than like a story that I could see that I came apart learning from it, it's just like the feeling that I got from reading it, which was just like a deep emotional kind of like paradox of me being like an educated black person in America versus the story that we're learning about of people just trying to survive post-slavery. So it's very like, I don't know, it's very eye-opening.
What did it make you think, like in what way did it make you open your eyes, do you think? Like,
well, it was the first story of like slavery that I read that wasn't told from like a white person's perspective. So it was more of like surviving and just like the crawl to leave something of yourself around, I feel like, and to try to be like in love and to try to raise children within all this like crazy shit that's happening in the book. It's very like very raw, I would say. Yeah.
That I've been thinking a lot about how I've been thinking about trauma in the sense of like family and how that gets passed down. But then in the larger context, like there's like I guess trauma that comes as a result, right? Like of so many people that were enslaved.
Yeah.
And then the effects of that. Yes, even though it's like it was a while back, the effects of that don't just go away, right? They still.
Yeah, there's actually something called like post-traumatic slave disorder.
Really?
So it's a form of PTSD that's specific to people who have been enslaved or whose family has been enslaved, and especially like pertinent to like the black and indigenous communities who literally have like a history and a DNA of enslavement. And you don't just like forget that. You don't forget like the hurt that your family went through, even though if it wasn't directly like you yourself, like your mother, your grandmother, like they all have different ties to trauma. And that fear that they have, that paranoia that they feel, that gets passed down to you, and you in turn have that same fear and paranoia coupled with other things, because now you also have the education that tells you why you have this fear and paranoia and tells you that you shouldn't really be scared, but obviously you can't intellect yourself out of
reactions
trauma.
that are in the body, right?
Exactly. So it's just like, it's a whole lot of shit. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
And then maybe last question to finish off. still related to that, like but you kind of answered it, which was you think it did. I know we're going. It's a different topic, but in your day to day now, like there are remnants of that. How
Hmm.
how would you describe those remnants? If yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I absolutely can like resonate with that. I go to like a predominantly white university,
Mm,
and I don't see a lot of people that look like myself. Not only black, but also like a masculine presenting woman. I think it's a very specific
mm,
identity to behold and to have like thrust upon you. I think that in that way, I see kind of like those same remnants of like enslavement, because my masculine, female, black identity is directly tied to what happened to my people. You
mhm.
know what I mean? Like, I don't. It's just so much history, and there's
Yeah,
so many bits and
it's a big
pieces
topic.
to it. Yeah, it's just, it is a big
Yeah,
topic.
it's a huge
Yeah, but
topic.
I'm directly affected by the things that happened to my forebears.
It's okay. Beloved Toni Morrison.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have not read that one, so
That's it's tough. Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.